It honestly hasn't seemed that long since the world received Sonic Mania, but actually it's been almost a full year since the original was released. To say I was looking forward to it would be a huge understatement. After quite a while thinking on it, it is easily one of my favorite Sonic games ever. And then, Sega go and announce that they're making DLC for it. Yeah, it's alright actually. Sonic Mania Plus added 2 new characters as well as Encore Mode, also 4-player split screen. So I'm here today to talk about not only the DLC, but what they've changed in the core game as well, which is a surprising amount. Yes, I am talking what some might consider spoilers, so if you're not about that, then, well, enjoy your game. I think we should start with the obvious, the 2 new characters, Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel. Boy, we haven't seen these characters in a very long time. Mighty was last seen in Knuckles Chaotix, not including cameos of course. And as for Ray the Flying Squirrel, well, you might not even know who that is. Ray was a playable character in an arcade game called Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, a very interesting isometric platformer. And if I recall, you controlled the characters by spinning a ball in the direction you wanted them to go. I'd really like to give it a go someday, but anyway, let's start with Mighty. He definitely feels like the kind of character you would give to someone who isn't used to the gameplay. He pretty much plays exactly like Sonic, but he doesn't have a drop dash. Instead, he has something called the Hammer Drop, a move that when you jump shoots you right down to the ground. It's a really powerful move to utilize, and also has an area of effect which will hit Badniks just next to him when he lands. And while that is a useful move, I feel the reason why this character is perfect for beginners is because you can deflect projectiles with his shell, whether it be rolling or jumping, and spikes can't really do anything to you while you're in a ball as well. It really feels like Mighty was designed to take the edge off the game for people who have less experience, or are having a little bit of trouble with Encore Mode, which we'll get into later. Next up is Ray. Have you ever played Super Mario World? You ever got the cape power-up and did the flying thing? Yes, that. Everything else is exactly the same. That's just Ray's main gimmick. But oh boy, can you just bend the level design to your will. Oh no, I missed a thing that was up there and the platform only went up once. Man, if only I had a way to fly up there. Honestly, I do really like what Ray has to offer. It does make exploring the levels far easier, and it can be fun to see what you've missed in the nooks and crannies of these complex stages. That, or you need the help trying to find the new special stage locations, which
End my suffering.
I could also see Ray being a key component in getting some interesting speedruns done. The 2 new characters by themselves are pretty good, offering a unique way to play the game, and you can use them in any of the available modes. But what the DLC also offers is Encore Mode. This was the big selling point for me. This was the thing I was most excited about. They mentioned it would be a way for people to experience the game again a second time around. And yeah, it does do that, though I am a little disappointed in some things. Starting out, you'll be thrown into the shortest 1-act version of Angel Island ever. Couldn't have even just given us a full 2-act stage to play through, really? You then run into Mighty and Ray held in a capsule from Knuckles Chaotix, and I only know that because someone told me. I've never actually played the game. Depending on who you pick, the other one turns out to be one of the hard-boiled heavies. The others get revived by the Phantom Ruby, and you're off on your journey once more. Through Orange Hill? Right off the bat, you're gonna notice something's a little different. One of the main changes is the fact that every single level has a different color palette, similar to those classic ROM hacks. But that isn't the only thing that changes. Right from the start, we can see some differences, mainly the monitor moving, the spring in the tree not being there, the invincibility is gone, various places that had rocks now have spikes instead. Little things to throw you off, just enough to take away that confidence that you knew the level inside and out, to damage you when you least expect it. Though for the most part, the general layout of the level has been unchanged, which probably led me to my first small disappointment was that I was expecting maybe a little more. I fully admit it could have been me hyping up the feature a bit more than I realized, but I really would have liked to have seen a few more changes to the layout. That being said, I do think a lot of the color palette changes are actually good. It really does help make the level feel different, even if it is fundamentally the same thing. Some changes are really neat. Let's see Oil Ocean in the middle of the day. Let's see Press Garden Act 2 during the night. Or let's give Lava Reef that really really cool heat wave effect. Some of the levels' color changes make sense, as they're CD levels using the Bad Future palette instead. And then we get to Titanic Monarch, and what happened to this background? Most of the color changes were okay to me, but your mileage may vary. Now, another big feature of Encore Mode which you may have noticed is the lives mechanic. That's because traditional lives are out, and instead your lives are your remaining characters. Lose all of your characters and you get a game over. Now, as you play, you can find a life monitor, but that will give you a character in reserve. You will always have 2 characters out when available, and you can swap between them using whatever button you have assigned to that, depending on your console. But to swap to a character from your reserve, you need to find a monitor that will allow you to do so, or one that randomizes the 2 you have currently. This is probably the main reason why Encore Mode is a lot more difficult, is because you only ever have 5 lives. Though to aid you, there are new bonus stages. It's a pinball table, and from these you can gain extra characters that you don't have at the time, or maybe some shields to help you out. They're pretty neat. I wouldn't say much more than that though. The main benefit of the new live system is once you die, you revive on the spot, meaning you don't have to play through the level again from a checkpoint, you just continue going. I believe the only time it will throw you back is if you die by crushing or a bottomless pit. But for the average player, this will be more than enough to test your abilities. Something I mentioned last I spoke about Mania was wanting more special stages. Easily one of my favorite special stages in a long time. Well, Encore Mode offers 7 brand new special stages, all with increased difficulty. Holy hell, these things are hard! At least they might be for your first few attempts. Honestly, I love the extra challenge, and the few new gimmicks they put in really makes unlocking the super forms fun and interesting, because that's pretty much all you're playing them for. It won't do anything for you at the end. Yeah, let's talk about the ending. So, one of the things I was hoping for, Encore Mode, brand new mode, I've got all the emeralds, let's fight a new final boss. Oh wait, it's over, okay. Come on, you made us work this hard to be able to get all of the emeralds and to be able to go through Encore Mode. We get nothing. Not even the original True Last boss. I know it wouldn't make sense story-wise, but come on, give me something. Eggman got thrown into a portal. What does that mean? Eggman forces? Maybe that's how classic Eggman got into Generations. I feel like all of that just summarizes what I felt about Encore Mode. I just was expecting more. Not much more, to be fair, but just a little more. I still think the mode is interesting, and definitely worth the price if you want 2 new characters and a fresh coat of paint over your levels, but it really could have been a standout bit of DLC if it just had these small little tweaks. But, speaking of small little tweaks, we do have more to talk about. Even if you didn't pick up the DLC, the main game has some updates, addressing some complaints people had about the original. You know how certain levels had a little cutscene to transition to the next stage and some didn't? Well, now every single one does. My personal favorite being when they fling a submarine into the air. That's just excessive and I love it. I think my favorite touch is when you can see the giant Eggman robot, lightning strikes, and Tails is still afraid of lightning. Oh, it's the small touches. Supersonic now has a lot of extra sprites for just doing a bunch of things. The main menu has been made all fancy, and you can now use these secrets like the debug mode and the other moves for Sonic in main game saves. I think the biggest change, and what came as the biggest surprise to me, was that they've changed the Metal Sonic fight. First of all, destroying Silver Sonic now makes a little projectile go and hit metal. I think this is good, because my original complaint of this fight was that the methods to beat this were not conveyed very well. But then we get to the Phase 2, which has been completely changed. Oh my god! This is yet again another reference to Knuckles Chaotix. And this is actually a pretty hard fight. Not because of the fight itself, but just trying not to fall off. You know, it's really cool to see they listened to all of these things we had to say. There are still a few things I would like to see. I would have loved to have seen an option to turn off the supersonic music to be able to listen to the normal music. I hear that's a cheat code, but I would have liked it in the sounds option. And again, maybe an actual final boss for Encore Mode would have been good too. But it is really cool to see that we could all come together to be able to make Mania even better than it already was. As you probably saw, I picked up the physical version of the game. I really like collecting games that I can hold in my hands. It came with a reversible cover that's even PAL specific. That was a nice touch. And this neat little art book. This is really cool. I love the art in Sonic Mania, and seeing some of the early concepts is really interesting. Really, I just want to have a hardcover version of this, which is like 3-4 times larger. Sonic Mania is one of my favorite Sonic games, and I honestly can't thank the development team enough. Like, seriously, big thanks to everyone who's involved. You guys are amazing. Seeing those slight connections additions to the fangame community and the hacking community makes it feel like we are all slightly involved in a much bigger project. With the feedback they received and an amazing dev team behind the game, that Mania is the result of a dedicated, passionate fan base. I'm probably overthinking it, of course, but to me, what solidifies this mindset is probably the most important part of the physical edition. The back of the art book. Written just along the top in Morse code, a hidden message that was put on the back. It's quite hard to read and it's a bit faint, so you may have missed it. Translated, it reads, "Together, we are greater than the sum of our parts." Hey everyone, thank you for watching this episode of Pixelated Bytes. I hope you enjoyed it. And a special shout out to all of my Patreon supporters. Thank you so much once more. If you want to support the show, link in the description. Hey, thanks for watching. Throw us a like if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos, and click the bell to be notified when I upload. Okay, but serious talk. Who else thought that it was going to say on the back, "Together we can show the world what we can do"? Just me? Alright, check out my other videos, follow me on Twitter, and follow my live stream, I guess? Take care, guys.